All right, good morning, everybody. This is our call to order for a special meeting, July 8th, 2024. We're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Trask, would you do us the honor of leading us in this pledge?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That was the quietest one I've ever heard. Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here.
Excellent. Next up is item number 4, which is public comment. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on any item that is not on the agenda. If it's on the agenda, we ask that you wait for it to come up and you'll have your opportunity to testify at that time. If it is not on the agenda, you'd like to speak to the commission, this is your opportunity. I have nobody in the room, so I'm going to go right to Zoom. Is there anybody in Zoom who would like to speak to the commission on any item not on the agenda? If so, please unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you on Zoom if you would like to speak to the commission on any item not on the agenda. Hearing none, we will move forward to item number 5. Approval to determine the district be sufficiently developed and the petition for the Road Improvement District RID project of Shetland Road affirming that the properties within the proposed district meet statutory development requirements and approval by the resolution of intention setting a public hearing for Tuesday, August 13th, 2024, 9:15 a.m. to consider public comment on the proposed formation of the Road Improvement District number 2024 01 to improve Shetland Road and integrate it into the county road system. Staff, Mike Collins. Mike?
Yes, sir. The intention to create the Road Improvement District number 2024-01. We're going to have Tina speak to this. Are you here, Tina?
Yep, I'm here. We are requesting that they set the hearing date for August 13th. This is due to, we still had to work on the process of doing the notices, with there being a 30-day notice for the state-owned property and not just the 15-day notice for property owners.
Okay. Now, before us, I have 2 different actions, and I'd like to make sure that this is what you're asking for. I have a request to determine that the district is sufficiently developed, so on and so forth, and the second one to adopt a resolution, the intention of setting a hearing. Are you still in the request of both of these as 2 separate actions?
Yes.
Okay. Then I will ask, is there anybody here that would like to testify or ask any questions regarding this issue? If you're on Zoom, unmute yourself, say your name, and we'll give you an opportunity right now to speak. Unmute yourself, say your name, and you'll get an opportunity right now to speak. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion from the commission.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of item number 5 as presented.
I'll second that,
Okay, except for
except I think,
they wanted 2 separate motions.
yeah, we need to make this 2 separate motions.
Yeah, Kevin, they're asking for 2 separate motions. Here's what I have here. Can I go ahead and have Sharon, will you read the first one?
Sure. Approval to determine the district to be sufficiently developed and the petition for the Road Improvement District project of Shetland Road, affirming that the properties within the proposed district meet statutory development requirements.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to determine that the district to be sufficiently developed and the position to be sufficient for the Road Improvement District RID project of Shetland Road, affirming that the properties within the proposed district meet statutory development requirements. Any comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Second?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the resolution of intention setting a public hearing for Tuesday, August 13th, 2024 at 9:15 a.m. to consider public comment on the proposed formation of a road improvement district number 2024-01 to improve Shetland Road and integrate it into the county road system.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to adopt a resolution of intention setting a hearing for August 13th, 2024 at 9:15 a.m. to consider public comment on the proposed formation of a road improvement district number 2024-01 to improve Shetland Road and integrate it into the county road system. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries. That closes this, and that leaves us to item 6, which is adjournment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It is moved and seconded. We adjourn. Hearing no objection, we are adjourned. See everybody in the briefing. Good morning, everybody. Ready? Okay. This is the briefing for the Mason County Commission for the week of July 8th. And we're going to go ahead and open up with our state auditor's office, but I need to let everybody know that at around 9:39, 9:40, right in there, I'm going to have to leave. And at that point, I will still get back online to be a part of it as I am traveling, but Commissioner Trask will take over the meeting at that point until I return. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and open right now into our state auditor's office entrance. Tammy.
Hello, everybody. Let me go ahead and share my screen so I can let you see the presentation, and I'll let Miranda get us started.
All right. Well, thank you for the opportunity to be here today to discuss the beginning of the county's audit. My name is Miranda Shales, and joining me today is Tammy Lane, who is serving as the audit lead. And our goal today will be to just share some information related to the current audit and any resources that can be of assistance to your government. Before we get started, it is important to note that the presentation we have prepared for you just represents a summary of topics that we would like to bring to your attention. And then to supplement this presentation, we have also provided a packet of documentation where you can see more details on the topics that we're sharing today. So with that, let's get started. The Office of the Washington State Auditor is tasked with being the auditor of all public funds. As such, we're responsible for auditing all state and local governments. And our office has approximately 400 professionals located around the state and conducts over 2,600 audits each year. On this slide, you'll see the various types of audits we conduct, with accountability, financial, and federal audits representing what we conduct most. And on the slide, we have highlighted those types that we plan to conduct for the county, and we'll briefly describe those for you. So the first audit type we plan to conduct is our accountability audit. And the purpose of this audit is to determine whether the county has complied with state laws, contracts, grant agreements, and your own policies and procedures. In addition, this audit will also look at whether the county has adequate procedures in place to safeguard public funds. The second audit type we plan to conduct is a financial statement audit. And the purpose of this audit is to issue an opinion on whether financial statements prepared by the county are free from material error and are fairly stated. And opinions issued through financial statement audits are important to all users that may review your financial statements, such as bond rating agencies, as they let them know whether they can place reliance on the information that's being presented. In addition, this audit will also look at whether the county has adequate internal controls or procedures in place to ensure the financial statements are prepared correctly and detect errors prior to them being submitted for audit. And if we identify any concerns with the county's process, audit standards do require that we bring those to your attention when they're significant. Additionally, we'll also be performing a federal grant compliance or single audit, and this audit is required anytime the county expends over $750,000 in federal funds. Our objective will be to review the funding the county received, select individual grants for audit, and determine whether the county complied with the requirements for receiving that federal funding. And at the conclusion of this audit, we'll issue an opinion on the county's compliance and share these results with the federal government. And with that, I will turn it over to Tammy to go over more details of what we're going to be looking at in these audits.
Thank you, Miranda. So for our accountability audit, as Miranda discussed, this is determining whether the county has followed policies, procedures, state law, and other requirements. And for this audit that covers fiscal year 2023, we used a risk-based approach in our planning. This is looking at trends, minutes, and other areas to determine what to look at for the audit. And we will be looking at cash receipting, and this is for timeliness and completeness of deposits, and of course voids and adjustments are supported. We will be specifically looking at public works, solid waste for this area. Accounts payable. General disbursements, credit cards, and EFTs or electronic funds transfers is a significant system for the county. So we will be looking at this area to ensure disbursements are supported, procedures are followed, and the expenditures are for a county purpose. Cost allocation plans. For this, we will be looking at equitable and allowable distribution of those indirect costs throughout different departments. And then payroll is also a significant system for the county. There's a lot of expenditures related to payroll. So we will be looking at gross wages, retroactive pay, electronic funds transfers, and leave buyback for the year in question. We will also be looking at open public meetings and financial condition, as we do a lot of preliminary work in our planning for this. So we do some follow-up in this area as well. For our financial statement audit, we will be looking at the same period, so fiscal year 2023. We will be issuing our opinion in accordance with the BAR's manual, as the county is a cash basis entity. We will also be determining, as Miranda said, if the policies and procedures have been followed in the financial statement preparation, and whether there's any instances of non-compliance. For our federal grant compliance audit, we will be issuing an opinion in accordance with the government auditing standards, as well as uniform guidance, as that's what we audit our programs to. We will be looking at internal controls and compliance over major programs. And the major programs that we have selected for the fiscal year 23 audit is a Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG as it's known, the Emergency Solution Grant, and then the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, which is called either SLURF or ARPA. All of these expenditures were about 44% of the fiscal year 2023 CFA. And staying connected is really important for our office to ensure that we're conducting the audit in a streamlined manner for the county. We start initially with a pre-audit meeting. We complete risk assessments. We also do have a weekly status meeting that we hold with Leo. And if anybody wants to join, definitely reach out to Leo Kim, the CFO, so that they can join if there's any questions. At the end of the audit, we'll have a management rep letter that will be reviewed, as well as an exit conference where we'll go over all of the any issues found, or on top of that, all of the positives that we've seen through the audit. Levels of reporting. These are the levels of reporting that we can have through the audit. Exit items are small issues, more housekeeping items that we will talk with management about to be able to recommend some improvements. Management letters are our next step up in a recommendation, and this is a letter that's actually formally given to the commissioners. It's not actually in the audit report, but it is referenced in the audit report. And then there are findings, which are our highest level of recommendation, and this is something that we will detail in the audit report, but then the county will have a chance to respond specifically to the issue, which is also included in the audit report. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Miranda to go over some items for your review.
Thank you. All right, we also just want to take the opportunity to share a few reminders with you today about our audit. So first, our office remains committed to protecting and the safe handling of your confidential data. And when this occurs, will you just let us know immediately the documentation that you're providing contains sensitive information so we can ensure that data is adequately safeguarded throughout the audit process. We are using a tool called SAO Share right now, which Leo has been uploading documents for us. So that's how we're ensuring that all of that data is being safeguarded properly. Second, we have also shared an estimate of audit costs in your packet. Third, should there be any concerns during our audit process, please know that we have an established process for you to voice those concerns. This is called our audit dispute process, and it's designed to provide you with access to progressive levels of management within our organization to hear your concerns. However, we do encourage that you start with your local audit manager should the need occur. And then lastly, we always like to remind our governments about loss reporting requirements. Should you become aware of any known or suspected losses of public funds, please note that state law does require that you immediately file a notification with our office. And this process is really easy to perform. You can file a notification directly from our website if the need occurs. And then upon receipt of any notification, we have a team of specialists that will review that notification and then determine if there is any follow-up or investigation needed. One question that we receive quite often is who audits the state auditor? And it is only fitting that since we conduct audits as an organization, that we also undergo an audit ourselves. So our office receives an external peer review once every 3 years by the National State Auditors Association to satisfy government auditing standards. And the last rating that we received was a pass, which is the highest level of assurance that the review can provide. And then lastly, beyond the regularly scheduled audit, please note that we do have support services available at no additional cost to you year-round. First, our local government support team is available to assist with annual financial reporting and accounting services, from one-on-one technical assistance, various resources available on our website, and a client help desk. The local government support team strives to ensure our local governments are prepared to meet their annual reporting requirements. And in addition, they also offer several trainings around the state virtually each year to keep you updated on the latest accounting and reporting topics. And then in addition, the Center for Government Innovation is another great resource for local governments. The center provides free resources and services to help local governments throughout Washington work better, solve problems, and improve operations. And this team of specialists is available by phone, online, or in person to offer assistance at no additional cost. And with that, that concludes our presentation for you all today. Are there any questions for us, or comments or concerns or anything?
Commissioner Trask, any questions or comments?
No, you guys always do a great job, and look forward to a no finding, shall we say.
Commissioner Schutte?
No questions for me. Thanks for joining us this morning.
And also no questions from me. Thank you so much. We very much appreciate all the work. You guys are definitely a joy to work with.
Great. Well, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you all again at the exit conference.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
So next up, we're going to go ahead and jump into the Community Action Council. Justin DeFour. Good morning, Justin.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, do you have a presentation for us this morning?
I do not. I was asked to join the meeting this morning to meet, I think, the commissioners, to meet you all.
Okay. Well, I'm Randy Netherland. I've in my third term. Commissioner Schutte is in his second term, and Commissioner Trask is also in her second term. We're the commissioners from these areas. I represent the north end. Commissioner Schutte represents the whole larger area of the south and all, and Commissioner Trask mostly the city and up through our Timber Lakes area. Commissioners, is there anything you would like to say? Any comments or questions? Commissioner Trask, or no, Commissioner Schutte, you're unmuted. Would you like to start?
Sure. Yeah. I just thanks Justin for being here. It'd be helpful maybe if you just gave us a little bit about your background and your where you're hoping to take Community Action Council and how you think that we all can engage together in a productive way. I think that would be a really helpful start for us this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to. So thank you for that, Kevin, too. My name is Justin DeFour. I am, as stated, the new CEO of the Community Action Council. I've spent my career, for the most part, with the state of Washington in several different capacities. I've been with Department of Social and Health Services for a number of years. And just prior to this, I was the director of the Paid Family Medical Leave Program for Employment Security Department. So most of my work career has been spent in state government. Handful of years before that in the state of Utah. And so, what I'm bringing here and what I'm trying to accomplish is repairing. I know there have been some rocky relationships in the past and things haven't gone the way that we wanted them to go. And, I'm trying to come in here and, help support our staff members to continue doing the good work to support these communities, right? For me, it's making sure that we're serving customers in both Mason or all three counties, Mason, Thurston, and Lewis counties, and doing whatever we can to make sure that we're being good partners. And with that, like I said, and knowing some of the situation that's happened in the past, it's really important for me and for us to do what we need to do to repair some of that. So, I'm trying to make sure that we're keeping an eye to that and doing what we need to do to come to partnerships with open arms.
So I'll go ahead and go next here. So Justin, what are you doing to offset that? I'm going to just say it myself. I've not been on that board, but we've had so many different interactions that have left a very bad taste in my mouth, especially as a commissioner and representing all the people of my county.
Yeah.
What are you doing it appears to me that it has shifted to become a political organization with political statements with everything it's doing instead of servicing of the people. It's bothered me quite greatly as a commissioner here. And if you even look at your website, that your website has shifted to becoming a political arm instead of a organization focusing on the work that needs to be done. It's focusing on making political statements. What are you doing to change any of that?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that feedback. And I would say that, our organization is just that, not a political organization at all. There's no reason for us to have any political statement on anything. In so much so that we want to continue to serve every community member, right? We don't ask any community member what their political affiliation is or anything of that nature. So, our thing is to serve anybody who needs the help, right? And everybody who we can. And for me, it's to get past that, exactly what you described, Randy, is like, I think it sounds like, and again, I've only been here for less than 2 months now, but it sounds like there's been a contention that does sound political. And for me, I think that's missing the actual important part about what we do and the communities that we serve. I don't think any of that work that we do is political in any nature, actually. So for me, it's getting out of that. It's making sure that we're here to serve what our why is, why we exist. What are we actually doing here? Who are the people that we're here to serve? and making sure that that's what the focus is. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to meet everybody, talk to everybody, come up with what the issues are. This is productive for me to understand what those issues have been, so we can address them, and figure out how we leave that in the past and move to what we're trying to accomplish. I don't want to get sidetracked with political statements and political ideations and anything like that. For that matter, it's really about what we're here to provide for the communities of Mason, Lewis, and Thurston counties. And anything that we can do to continue to better that is what I want to pursue.
Okay, and I'm open to any of that, but I can tell you, when one of our commissioners gets disrespected in a manner to where it's not even possible this person is what is accused of, just because they have different ideologies, that always scares me, especially when it comes to the people's money and the money and effort we put in here. I have great respect for everybody's opinion, and I honestly think everybody should be entitled to it without any problems. It's when we try to push it on other people or start to box them into corners because of it, it really becomes a dangerous situation. And that what happens is you have organizations or counties like ourselves that feel like all of a sudden we have to protect ourselves from an organization like that. That's never a good place to be, because by protecting ourselves, we think we're protecting our people, all of our people. So please keep that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would agree with you. In reality is, I don't think that's a good situation for either, sides, right? And to that point, like, I don't want it to be a side. I don't want there to have to be that divide or disrespect or any of that, right? And so that's why I'm here to acknowledge whatever's happened in the past, and if there's more for us to talk about offline or whatever that looks like, I would love to, absolutely. Because for me, understanding the history is important. As I've kind of stated a little bit, like, I've walked into this position and felt some of these things, right? And so understanding what that is and knowing where that, where those things come from. And like I said, I think a little earlier, is that I know a part of the stories, right? I know, some of the things, but I don't know the full story, as I met with some folks in Mason County and heard their concerns and, kind of some of the stuff that's gone on. Like, I've gotten a lot clearer about, the situation. So I'd love to continue that conversation and make sure that we're addressing those things. And again, moving past what that was and where we want to go, right? How do we, exactly what you described, how do we continue to serve everybody in Mason County that needs the help that our agency can provide?
I appreciate that. And I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Trask in a minute. I just want to say, as a closing statement, when things like this actually occur, actual apologies after we know what it is makes a difference. Please consider that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Commissioner Trask.
Hi, Justin. Thank you for joining us as well. So I was the person on on CAC, and it was quite an experience. Gotta tell you, I'd love to talk to you someday about it. That would be great. I'd also like to make sure that we have representation from Mason County on your board, because right now we don't.
Yeah.
And it's important to me to make sure that all of Mason County is represented. I still do have concerns about your, let's see, what is it called? It's your mission statement. It is concerning. And
would you mind reading it to us, Commissioner? Because I don't have it in front of me. I'd love to.
Oh, sure. At Community Council of Lewis, Mason, and Thurston counties, we are dedicated to people's rights to thrive and to find their own potential. We disrupt white supremacy culture and advocate for all members of our community to flourish. I had issues with this before, and I still have issues with the mission statement. So I would, encourage you to take a look at it and see if that really is the mission of Community Action Council for Lewis, Mason, Thurston. So just take a look at it if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. Yeah.
But I would also like to make sure that we do get somebody on the board from our county, as Mason County puts in a big chunk of money now that Thurston and Lewis have pulled out. So I want to make sure that Mason County is getting the representation that we need. Your staff here in Mason County are amazing.
Yeah.
They do a great job. And so I would encourage you to give them all the support that you can.
Yeah,
so
for
that
sure.
they can do their job in Mason County.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's very important for me to have representation from all three of our counties on our board. So just know, like, that's a very, before I even accepted this job, that was in my mind to make sure that we address that. For me, like, I think including everybody is a big thing. And in this setting, we serve three counties, and having voices from all three of those counties, I think, is important for that representation, right? So I'm absolutely 100% on board with that, and want to make sure that we're going forward and getting at least one person. I mean, on a board of potentially 12 or more people, I think we could probably have more than that, but at least one person would be absolutely my bare minimum for every county. So I share your concern there, and will absolutely make the commitment to making sure that we are getting representation from your county as well as the other two.
Also, I would take a look at your bylaws and make sure that they were adopted in the manner that they should have been adopted. And I know that you work at the will of the board, so you have to tread lightly and do what they want you to do. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate you coming on again. I do appreciate that, but I would love to speak with you in person someday, maybe with Dave Windom and Melissa.
Absolutely. I can get something scheduled, or however you want to work that. But yeah, we would love to have more meetings and make sure that we're addressing the needs. If it's with those folks, with the county, we can make that happen. If not, I have all the commissioners' email addresses now, so I can send you a message and we can get something set up privately if you'd like.
All right, that would work. Yeah, in person.
Yeah, I'm in person is preferred for me. So yeah, love to.
All right, great.
And Justin, I would like to as well, but I will tell you, I will come in behind Commissioner Trask.
Okay.
Meet with her first, and
will do.
Justin, is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
I don't think I have anything else. I just wanted to, like I said, as I was, talking to folks in Mason County, they suggested I come here and, say hello to everyone, introduce myself, and, make sure that we're starting the relationship. So I appreciate the time and the willingness to meet with me and discuss the reality of what our situation is so we can move past it.
So Justin, just so you know, I used to be on that board, and it was a great board. It was a great board with great people of every different faction, every different ideology, and it all seemed to work well back in those days.
When was that?
That was before Commissioner Trask. How long were you on that? So I was probably on it.
I believe I took over in 2019, so that's when you gave it to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I like that knowledge of that history, that it did exist and it existed in a positive manner. And I want to get back to that. Whatever I can do, whatever we can do to kind of what you said earlier, Randy, is like, if there's an acknowledgement of the past history, or it doesn't even have to be historical. It's just, it obviously wasn't that long ago that things were happening. And whatever's necessary, apologizing or whatever it is, I absolutely want to make sure that we're doing that and getting past that, right? Showing up to any relationship in a combative nature isn't what I'm about, and I don't think that's how good work gets done. So anything that I can do, that we can do, like I said, to continue to move past that, I'm willing to. So I appreciate your feedback, and as we continue on, the time that it takes to acknowledge those things and to discuss what those things were, so we don't continue making those same missteps.
Excellent. I look forward to it. Commissioners, anything further for Justin? Hearing none. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate you coming on. We'll
thank you.
To you directly later.
Yep, will do. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Thanks. Okay, Commissioners, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead. I will be still on here. I will be picking it up on my phone as I'm traveling through, so I will still be attending while I can. And I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Trask.
No, Randy, don't speed. All right, so now we are at 9:45. We have the sheriff's office. Kevin Hanson, are you on there? All right, well, I don't see him. So I'm going to move down to Kell. Kell, are you able to go ahead and share your update with us? Is Kell on? Oh, I do see Kell. She is there. Kell, can you hear us? Or Todd?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Todd.
Oh, hey,
Sorry
me
about.
too. Sorry about that. I was just
Okay,
telling
Kell,
the
you got it.
counter not to worry about. I asked some of the people at the front to join us this morning, but we're short-staffed. Some folks are out not feeling good today. So anyway, so sorry for being late.
That's okay. Well, it looks like Todd's first on the.
I was gonna say, but Todd's first
briefing
up anyway, so I'll let you go, Todd.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this morning regarding the community development building program fee schedule. And the fees haven't been visited or restructured since 2018, and the department continues to experience mandated code changes over the past several years, bringing forth a need, and I believe a continuing need to continue evaluating this more frequently. A couple of the more significant changes have been the Washington State Energy Code, which changes every code cycle and places more mandates onto staff. The Urban Wildland Interface Code was in play, but it's been stalled since legislative action of SB 6120, but it'll be back. It will cause significant impacts as well with regard to review and inspection process, among other codes, and they'll continue to have an impact on our review inspection process and our training needs as well. Whenever these codes change, they create more training needs and mandates, unfunded mandates. And I've produced a number of documents here for you related to these recommendations, the proposed fees as recommended by staff in the packet, and then a side-by-side comparison of a 1,500 square foot single family residence. And that example shows a 4.2% or $165.75 increase in a permit fee for such a residence. The estimated revenue increase based on a 12-month study period is attached, and I'm estimating that to be based on the permit numbers for 2023 as an estimate of $70,500 and some change. Also attached as an example of the various fees for the jurisdictions around us. This study is performed annually by Kitsap County with cooperation of other jurisdictions on the west side of the state. So it gives us all a marker to take a look at and make comparisons and recommendations accordingly. And that doesn't include impact fees if you're looking at that graph. And then within the schedule, staff is also recommending an increase of our base hourly rate from $80 per hour to $97 per hour in order to more closely reflect the cost recovery for the work that the program does. And that's really all I have, unless you want to have a discussion about specific questions in those attachments thereof.
Commissioner Schutte, do you have any questions?
I do not.
I don't either. Commissioner Netherland.
Yes, I do. Are we doing anything to establish that all these rules and changes that we are doing historically we've always made sure that they are mandatory and absolutely mandatory. Can you just double check with all these things and make sure they're absolutely mandatory? And if there's a way that we can in any way fight it, I'd like to hear about that as well. I think that's important. Thank you.
They are mandatory. They're mandated. SBCC, Operational State Building Code Council, follows RCW 1927, which is the legal path for code adoption through legislative process. And these are mandated. They are not something we can say no to. The codes are adopted by the state legislative body and implemented accordingly. We can do what we can to, take a look at those and find paths within them, which we do. We try to make it as easy as possible for our stakeholders. But as far as not having to do them or implement them, that's not an option.
All right, Commissioner Netherland, do you have any more questions?
No, thank you very much.
All right, I have one, on the comparison chart. I don't see like Grace Harbor or some of our other neighbors. I do see Jefferson, Thurston. But I would be curious to see what Grace Harbor does along with, because we have some comparable counties that we typically will look at, but I don't see, the only one I see on here is Jefferson.
Yeah, I'll reach out to those. Not everybody participates, and then you said Jefferson?
Yeah, Jefferson's on there. I do
Okay,
see them.
okay. So Grace Harbor. I'll
Yeah.
reach out to Grace Harbor. I speak with them from time to time about turnaround times and
Okay.
comparisons. I'll reach out to their building official over there. One of the things is this is voluntary. We do get calls and, hey, can you give us certain information? And it's ongoing for a few months. And then all of a sudden there's this chart that shows fees and impacts and all those other things. There's a lot more to that chart than is what's in front of you, but I didn't think it was necessary to show you impact fees. They're enormous. Some permits are $40,000 just to get out the door. So we're relatively low in comparison. Anyway, I'll look at that and bring that back to you.
Okay, that'd be great. I know some people don't understand why we have impact fees, but I mean,
right,
the definition of the word.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it kind of helps us run the government, right?
Yep.
Todd, I was surprised to see that the single family resident permit fee for Thurston County is a little bit lower than Mason. I know that Thurston has quite a few more impact fees that impact the overall cost of construction there. And I'm wondering if that's why they've kind of kept this permit fee low.
That's absolutely why. Let me see if I can bring that up here. And the fee survey.
Mark, an interesting comment about that, because when I'm looking at that, I think about that, we base our fees off of what it takes to do the operations. If Thurston County is doing the same, which I'm sure they are, the impact fees don't go into that pocket. We should be looking at being more comparable at the very minimum to that.
At the end of the day, Thurston County is $8,600, and total of all fees is $12,715 for a single family dwelling. So it is significantly higher once you add it in those impact fees.
Yes, Todd, and it may mean that does it possibly mean that Thurston County has their single family residential permit fee maybe broken down into smaller pieces. So there's a piece that like if you were to look at what is included in the Mason County's permit fee versus Thurston County's permit fee, could Mason County cover more than Thurston does in that basic single family permit?
Yeah, the building permit fee is about $400 more here versus Thurston County, and just the building permit fee. It looks like their plumbing is, our plumbing is higher than theirs. I think their numbers are low in that capacity with regard to what needs to be done in that area, especially with the impacts on us now with the energy code. And the energy code not only affects or impacts the envelope and so on, it also impacts plumbing and those fixtures, and also mechanical in a big way. So it's a sort of an et-al process where it captures that. And we are at they show planning fees in theirs as well. Thurston County's around $400. Ours is $240, a little cheaper. But yeah, overall theirs is a little bit lower, but I've spoken with them recently and they are looking at their fees. So I suspect they will go up in the next survey. That was one of the things they were looking for when they hired a new building services supervisor over there. So that's something that I'll see change over the next year and report back on.
Thank you.
And I think it's cool that you have a good relationship with our neighbors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's important. What about
We
the
get-
city? How do we compare to the city?
To the cities,
To
well,
Shelton?
the
Just the
cities
Shelton.
are significantly higher based on impact fees. If you look at let's say City of Paulsville, 32,261 for a single family dwelling permit with impact fees. Gig Harbor, 37,246. Bremerton, 23,413. Port Orchard, $43,039. So it's significantly higher in those city jurisdictions than it is in the county jurisdiction because of the impact fees, obviously.
Right. Do you know how we compare to Shelton?
City of Shelton, I don't think is on this list.
Yeah, I don't see it on here either. I was just wondering if maybe you knew.
They must not have participated in the outreach.
Okay.
I'll take a look at that though.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, those are the only
Todd-
questions
oh.
I had.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I was
Those are
just
all the
gonna say,
questions I had.
Todd, did you start at the beginning that this briefing we're requesting to put on the action agenda to set a public hearing?
Yeah, we are requesting to move forward with the action agenda with this item. And that was for August 16th, Kell, right?
August 13th.
Yeah,
August 13th.
August 13th. Sorry about that.
All right, commissioners, are you good with that?
Yeah, no issues with me. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we're set for August 13th for the hearing.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Kell, now you've got
right.
our quarterly update.
Okay, let's see if I can. All right. I haven't done this in a while. What are we updating? Let me use how do I use my computer screen to see?
Oh, no.
Every time what's happening here? Okay, so quarterly update on SmartGov. Our SmartGov team, our lead SmartGov person is Julie Cheney, and she has been meeting weekly with the permit techs and Josh Luck from the building department, and they're going over each permit. In the packets, you will see the things that they've done, the things that are in progress, and then the things that were left to do. Since the last update, we have put the garages on the public portal. So folks, rather than needing the appointment, you could still have an appointment. You could still submit your permit by coming in person and meeting with a permit tech, or you could submit online and pay your permit fees online and go through all of that without ever setting foot in the office. And so I had asked Jeannie, but she's super busy this morning taking care of other stuff. And so she's not able to talk about the details of how that's gone. But we've had a few applications through the portal for the garages, and then it's worked its process as far as the permits text, checking that everything's complete, getting it forwarded to all the parties electronically, those getting reviewed, and then back to the text, and then issuing the permit. So it's a new process for us to, do away with paper and everything happening online. And so that's pretty neat. I know Julie's been tracking with everyone to see what are the glitches, what needs to be fixed. And as we kind of finalize that, then we'll start getting, I think the next thing, and maybe Todd can correct me, but because I'm not sure I see Julie on here, is the manufactured homes. And then we'll just keep doing that one by one and getting up. So eventually all permits will be available through the portal. So that's going well.
We've
Any
updated some of the
questions on that?
commercial.
Oh, go ahead.
We've also updated some of the commercial, and I've received applications through the portal, and then they flag me in my queue for review. So that I'd say it's working. I just got to pay attention to it because the paper doesn't come across your desk now, just the warning that something's in your queue. So yes, we are modernizing.
So if you're getting a notice in your queue, how does that continue to alert you if it hadn't been looked at, or?
Yeah, it depends how you set up your preferences. You can, if you set them up wrong, you're going to get bombarded with everything in the system. I've got mine set up to where I just get a reminder that says, hey, there's something in your queue, pay attention. And it lets me know that there's a project there for my review specifically. And I do all the commercials, so that's pretty automatic and easy to follow. I have a set up in my preferences as well that gives me a green light for just came in or a red light when I'm not paying attention. So it will let me know. And again, that's a preference check that you can make in the system. But, generally we stay on top of our work and we don't have those sort of things slip through the cracks.
Kell, I am here if you wanted me to talk about anything.
Oh, there she is. I missed your name. Yeah, and so I don't know if Julie wanted to add anything about permits going on through the portal or any little nuances there.
I think that it's been going pretty well. Of course, there's been little tweaks we've had to make as we add things to the portal and figuring out what works and what doesn't. But so far, everything has been pretty minor. And so it seems to be going well so far. And yeah, like you said, Kell, our next one that we would like to get on the portal will be manufactured homes. I'm hoping we're going to do that towards the end of this month, maybe early next month. We're just kind of waiting to kind of finish up with the garage permits, enough of them to go through the cycle to make sure that it's going smoothly for all pieces before we start adding more. And I also wanted to also say that Todd's right. There's definitely ways you can set up preferences so that we can, so users can be notified if they, for whatever reason, didn't notice a task in their list as kind of as a double check to make sure that we're not missing things.
Yeah, and then I wanted to add to that SmartGov has it's called a user to do. So each person could go in, you could go in daily, look at your user to do list, and everything that you have been assigned to comes up in your list. And so until you've completed that task, it'll stay in your queue. So even if you've reviewed the permit, but you have a deficiency on it, it stays in your queue. So you can go in and then, but also you could get notified by emails if new things come in. So there's different ways to capture that. So yeah, anything else on SmartGov?
Any questions from commissioners? Comments?
for me.
All right. No, I'm excited. It's neat to see how far we've come since 2019.
Yeah, and we've made a lot of progress. I would say in the last year, it's almost like in the last year, we've done as much work as we did the first 4 years. So I'm feeling really positive about our utilization of SmartGov. There's a quarterly group, or there's a group that meets quarterly in the region for all of the jurisdictions that use SmartGov, and the person from Kitsap County actually hosts it. And Julie attends those. I was attending those, but now Julie and one of the permit techs has been attending, and it's just for users to say, hey, we have this issue. Do you know how to, it's kind of the tips and tricks or what have you. And then Granicus is the company. So SmartGov has been purchased multiple times over since we've used it, but it is now currently in the hands of Granicus, another software company that does a lot of their own permitting software as well as other governmental software. And I think that's a really positive thing. And I did not attend the last quarterly meeting, but it sounds like Granicus was there and had some positive feedback for issues moving forward. And I know that Julie has had some things on her list that she was unsuccessful with the previous software owners, and looks like we're getting headway with Granicus, including some closing out of old legacy permits that have kind of clogged up our system when we did the transfer from Tidemark. And they're able to go in and batch close out those old legacy permits and to kind of clean up the system. So that's another positive note that's just kind of outside of our DCD work on SmartGov. So that's good news.
That's awesome. Yeah, very cool. And while we're still on this topic, I think it would be cool to me if I could meet with you guys, maybe, once a month, once every 2 months, and just go over the permits in my district, so District 3. I think it'd be cool and educational.
I'll talk to Julie about that on if we can, like how that would, how we could break that out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that would be kind of hard, but
because there is a mapping feature in SmartGov, but I don't know if it's tied. So I don't know, that's something we could do in GIS, and it's something you could do as far as permits in SmartGov, but I don't know together if you can batch that out.
Right. Gotcha.
But happy to meet with you regardless to go over specific permitting and such.
Yeah, I'd be more than willing to come over there.
Okay. All right.
Or I guess we could move it to Wild Irish. I don't know. Probably not. All right, we won't do that one. That's too tempting. All right. What do you have next for us?
Next, just average days to issuance. We're remaining, looks like if I look at the graph, that's for permit submittals, just on average, and our turnaround times. We look pretty steady from about December of 23 and through this year. So there's a slight downturn, but it looks like we've kind of leveled out. So I would say, the way I think about it and staffing levels and all of that is, ever since we went through that lean program 3 years ago, we're in constant mode of improvement and looking at our systems and what can we improve and all that. So I think that's just an ongoing thing that will continue on. However, as we continue to do that, I feel like we have, for the most part, settled out into, staffing levels and workloads. And so we will see this continue. If it starts to spike up, then we know, is there a staffing issue? Are permits going up and where we need to add staff somewhere? Or, what's going on? And so it's important for us to continue to monitor that and make sure, you know, if it super dips, what's happening? Have we, you know, we've noticed a slight downturn in permit submittals after we had our rush in mid-March when the code changed. So right now things are looking good, and I feel pretty positive about the permit turnaround times. I know folks would love to have it next day or same day, but working within the constraints of our state requirements, I feel like we're at a good place right now.
Yeah, that does look good. I like it.
And let's see.
And Kell, some of that difference that we see there, I mean, gosh, you go back to November of 2022 and you're seeing 108 days. Is some of that due to the fact that the stop clock was implemented, and
Yep.
when
So
was
some
that?
Yep, some of it is stop clock, some of it is just staffing, you know, when our there was a time, I believe last year at this time, maybe even earlier, so maybe over a year now, where we were down to 2 permit techs for quite a while, and that really, you know, that backs up at the front end. So even though the back end is ready to absorb and do review, they can't do it if it's blocked up. So we've really learned that you know, keeping our front end staff or staffed up is really important so that the flow happens easily. And with 4 permit techs, I think we've gotten there. But also the stop clock has helped show when we're in review as compared to folks that are having to work on their end and then not batching up the system, or not batching up the system, but you know, showing a long turnaround times because they had a hard time getting their engineer to turn work around or what have you.
Yeah, so I think that's just a reminder for individuals that are watching that may not remember what we talked about the stop clock on. It's basically when your staff have done everything that they can and they're waiting for information back from the individuals requesting the permit. So, thank you.
Yep. I did miss the appointment system. Our appointment systems right now are, I think you could get if you needed to submit a permit, you could get something this week. So we're good there. No more backups. You know, I think that's something that I don't anticipate having a problem again unless we lost a bunch of staff. So we're good on the appointment system. And of course, our appointment system will continue to get more freed up as we put more permits online. And then lastly I have is the scanning project. So we have 2 full-time scanners thanks to the ARPA funding. And we had one person leave, and now we've got another full-time person, Candace. So Candace and Asasia are 2 scanners. They're doing an excellent job, and we have gotten rid of, I believe, 6+ full file cabinets. They calculated 5 tons of paper, binder clips, staples, and other hardware. So we have really, you know, reduced the weight on the floor up here, and are continuing to make space, and we're on track to you know, finish the project in time. So we're happy about that, and it's kind of a geeky subject, but it is pretty cool that we're finally getting all of those records scanned, and folks should be able to you know, find those records. Of course, we're through, you know, we've got a long way to go. So if folks are out there and they're looking for their land records for their property and can't find it, you know, give us a call. We likely haven't scanned those in yet, but that's pretty good work there. So appreciate Mariah's work on keeping that on track. And
great work.
That, I don't have anything unless there are other questions.
You have the code enforcement.
Oh yeah. So that's that on the just the quarterly updates. On the code enforcement, this is an open position. We wouldn't normally brief, but because it's about enforcement, and I know that's a topic that the commissioners are interested in. Wanted to let the commissioners know that we are going to backfill the code enforcement position in the building department. So that was last filled by Kurt Eck, who had left us. And then our planning code enforcement person tried to juggle both building and planning issues, and there's just a lot. And so we did have a lot of discussions internally on what would be the best for the department and how to handle that. And ultimately, we've decided to fill the code enforcement position. And so I'm working with Mary in HR, and we'll get that posted this week. And so just wanted to let you guys, just let you be aware of that.
That's great. It's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So just to kind of give a little additional detail to this, I know that code enforcement has been a big issue that we've talked about, and we've had a lot of citizens coming in and asking specifically about these things. So once this position is filled, we'll have 3 individuals that are really doing code enforcement, right? So we'd have it from our environmental health perspective. Ian and his team have a code enforcement function. The building side, which will be completed by this individual, and then the planning side, which is
Jamie,
sorry.
Mm.
And so it really kind of covering all the aspects of building and construction within Mason County. We have representatives that could go out and do code enforcement on those issues.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's exciting. Okay, anything else for us?
I believe that's it.
Okay, Commissioner Schutte, do you have anything for Kell and her team?
I do not.
And Commissioner Netherland, speak up now or forever hold your peace. All right, well, I got nothing for you.
All right.
So we're good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, do we have Kevin Hanson in the room yet?
I left a message with Chief Hanson, and so I'm hopeful that he's going to get it.
Okay. All right, well, let's just keep moving down the list then.
I'm here, Sharon.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yep. Okay,
Great.
thanks. Sorry I was late. I was having a little technical difficulties.
Well,
Okay.
we'll forgive you this time.
All right. So for today's agenda, it's more just an informational update for you guys. And it's about the inmate phone system and the inmate grievance tracker, which is their kite system, and their we're getting away from our current provider, which is Securus. And we are transitioning to a company called CTEL. CTEL is an inmate phone provider that provides inmate phone services all across the country. Some benefits of the CTEL program that we didn't have over Securus. They have laptops or like iPads that we're going to issue the inmates. Those iPads have books, they have GED programs, they have the law library, they have educational programs, they have church, they have Bibles, they have all those things on those laptops that we currently either can't provide because we don't have the means to provide it, or we just don't have access to. So this is a huge thing for us. I think it's going to help with some litigation, potential future litigation where we're mandated to give access to some of these things to the inmates, and sometimes it's just difficult with the way our facilities and our services that we have. I mean, buildings, facilities. So the inmate phone program runs on the funding for the program is based on proceeds from the users. So there's no money that the county is going to have to pay for the initial investment. It's all borne by the phone company. Anyhow, I think it's going to be a good benefit to us, and I just wanted to brief you guys to let you know what we're doing.
Well, I think that's pretty darn cool. Commissioner Schutte?
Yeah, it sounds like a good move, and just interested to see how it rolls out, but appreciate the update.
Yep, you're welcome. One more thing. The FCC has been after the inmate phone companies about phone call rates, and CTEL is working with FCC, and if the FCC mandates they got to reduce their minute or their per minute rate, then this kind of phone company will do that, and I mean it's not an issue. So, and that's built into part of the contract. So.
All right, that's cool. And I love that it doesn't cost the county any money while it still provides a true benefit to our inmates.
Yep, I think they're going to be happy. They can even rent movies and read books and all kinds of stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
That's cool. All right. Anything else for Chief Hanson? Nope.
For me.
All right, Chief.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Have a good week.
Thanks. You too.
Yeah, bye.
And Kevin, you might want to stick around and listen to this next item that Dave Windom is going to be presenting.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
All right, Dave, that's your cue. You're up.
I kind of gathered that. Yeah. Okay. So good morning. The next item we have, our first item, is the jail reentry program. So we went ahead and applied for this. We've received notification that we're successful in getting this program. I have talked to Chief Hanson just recently. We initially set this up for cohort 1, which would give us $2.25 million pretty much right away. And I did talk to a healthcare authority around this program that we needed to run through our legislative process here. And Chief Hanson would like to see us go to cohort 2. So as we get this signed, I think we can get it signed, and then I can work with the funder and get it changed to cohort 2. I don't think that's going to be a huge problem to do that. We had very, very short notice. I put this together on like a week. I got it sent in, got it approved. And what this allows us to do is to have programs that would follow the inmate from their jail time to back out into the community to continue their medical assisted treatment and benefits to get them restarted in the community. It's a good program. It, like I said, it's $2.25 million over the course of 3 years. So this would be a good program for us.
Okay, so can you tell me what the difference is between cohort 1 and cohort 2?
Just basically start dates.
Just start dates?
Yeah, so cohort 1 starts, I think, almost immediately. What we're looking to do is to push it off to 2025. Give the jail a chance, because the first part of it is to come up with a plan on how to spend the funds. So there's a planning component. Initially, there's $100,000 that comes out for the planning component. And we'll need it to kind of maybe push that back a little bit, so it gives the jail a little bit of time to react and work on that.
And Dave, these are costs that we're actually currently paying through county funds,
right,
to provide these services to inmates. Now, up to 90 days before their release, we could actually get reimbursed for some of these services that are being provided.
Right. So it will reduce the county's obligation in the jail. So it will definitely help on our budget end of things.
So this is Chief Hanson. So there's Dave and I have talked a little bit about this, and this has been a pretty significant topic amongst WASPIC, and specifically the jail managers across the state. There is a handful of other jails across the state who have opted into cohort 1, but there's a lot of unanswered questions from the healthcare authority that they have not been able to answer through WASPIC in our questions to them. And there's things such as the jail has to have an electronic health record program that is either the same that the state uses or it interfaces with the state. Well, that means we have to completely ditch our healthcare records program at the jail and switch over to the state one. And that costs almost $1 million just for that software program. So, and these funds are eligible to pay for that, so that's not a problem. But it's this whole concept of having to switch everything, and our healthcare providers in more than one jail. So, she's got like 5 jails, I think. And so, how's that going to impact their services and their operation? We have to have 30 days supply of meds on site. So prescription meds, or not prescription, but controlled substance meds. And we got to figure out logistically how that's going to happen. There's no provision for funding after the initial 3 years. So we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do, because the county's going to have to hire a Medicaid, a person to bill Medicaid. They're going to have to hire a coordinator, or I think they call it a coordinator, to manage the program. And there's just a lot of these hoops and questions, and that the short timeline that HCA gave us to enter into cohort 1 is there's just really no way that we can have all those I's dotted, T's crossed. So that's why Dave and I talked, and we agreed to push it out a little bit for a couple of reasons. Number one, to allow some time to facilitate all these things that we have to have in place. And number two, to let the other jails work their way through this process to see what the answers are to those questions I briefly spoke about. So anyhow, that's where we're at.
Yeah. This is a piece of the Medicaid transformation project 2.0, and Healthcare Authority has been really late on coming out with some of the information that we needed for MTP2. So and that affects us in public health, the jails, all of us that have interconnectivity with Healthcare Authority are having some issues with it. So
yeah, so Dave and I will work through it. We'll see where it goes, and we'll see if we can make it work.
All right, that sounds good. So is there anything that we need to do moving forward? It sounds like you guys have it under control, and
yeah, I think we just need to get it signed, and then I can work with the Healthcare Authority to move us over to cohort 2.
Okay. And you don't think that that'll be an issue?
I don't think so. No. This has been, the accountable communities of health have been struggling with this as well. And that was originally one of the thoughts, was that the ACHs, in our case, Choice, would be in charge of this, and that was not the case. And only in the last minute did we find that out.
All right, Commissioner Shooting, any questions?
No questions, but yeah, just happy to hear that you guys can work through this and kind of figure out what it might look like here, what the obstacles are, and how we might mitigate some of those. I think it's good work. I think it's important work, and it's worth kind of exploring all the way through to see what implementation would look like here.
Yeah, super excited that you guys are working together on this. If it'll save us some money, get us reimbursed, that's great. I like that a lot.
Okay, are we ready for the next item?
Yeah, so then after we sign this, so what we can put this on our next agenda, which would be our meeting
next week.
16th. Yeah.
Yeah, 16th, yep.
Okay. And then after we sign it, and then you get it moved to cohort 2.
Right.
And we'll come back with that, just
yep.
that brief moment. Okay. All right, sounds good.
Okay. All right, our next item is the Kroger opioid settlement. This is another one of the opioid settlements just came through, and our piece of this is 0.9% of what the state's getting will be coming to Mason County. So we'll see what that looks like when the final allocations go out. But this is just another one of those funds, and this one lasts for more than 1 year. So this one goes several years. So just want to get that in so we can get that signed and get that one moving forward as well.
All right, sounds good. Commissioner Shooty?
Yep, good with me.
Okay. What's next?
Okay, the next one is a request from Commissioner Netherland, and that's the opioid settlement of authorized uses. So I've included that document from the main agreement about what the uses are. And typically, the priority uses are around treatment and prevention, whether it's naloxone or other methods of treatment, Medicaid, medically assisted treatment, et cetera. And it just outlines, they're pretty broad. There's a lot of things we can use under there, but the state has some focus areas. Doesn't mean we have to go with the focus areas, but we do need to have a way of allocating these funds. And Mark and I have talked about this, and we'll be coming back to the commission with how we want to do this. But it should be a committee probably that looks at proposals versus the authorized uses and makes decision from there.
All right.
The city of Shelton has also combined their funds with ours, and so want to make sure that we include them in that process for identifying where they would be best spent here in our communities.
Right.
Commissioner Schutte?
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, a good clearinghouse for some of that might be the Housing Behavioral Health Advisory Board, since you have providers and the city represented on there.
Okay.
Is just an opportunity to kind of vet a process and make recommendations.
Okay.
All right. What's next?
Okay, next is, this is a fun one. So mobile outreach, and we've talked about this a little bit before. We talked about it at the Board of Health. And this is an RFP for bids to start looking at and getting some concrete numbers on a vehicle for us. Right now we have, I think it's a 1997 motorhome that we're using. It's a little motorhome, and it has seen its useful life. And it's really not set up to be commercially used, and it needs to be retired. So we're looking at doing a mobile outreach unit that would have one compartment would be a medical compartment, so with an exam table where we can do wound care, those sorts of things. The front piece really set up for mental health, bring people in, talk to them, mental health, substance abuse. Have a lavatory in there as well, handicap, a wheelchair lift. And this will give us the ability to take public health, basically, not just for syringe exchange, but to expand our programs into HIV testing, Hep C testing and treatment, and get public health out on the road. We'll be able to go out and do A1C clinics and blood pressure clinics all over the county. It would even give us the ability to take WIC on the road, and we could hit, communities like Hoodsport and Tahuya, places like that, with a mobile WIC clinic. And it really would expand our capability. We have $200,000 set aside from choice. So, and we have some other money we can blend into that as well. So we're looking at an initial budget of between $200,000 and $300,000 as a starting point. I'm now a member of the Northwest Regional Mobile Clinic Association, which has been a great clearinghouse for me to get the information on setting up clinics and what you need and the technology, all that kind of stuff. And we have around 12 companies that we'd like to send this out to get bids on. And then there's some specific requirements I put into the bid process. It's been reviewed by legal, said it looks good. So we just need to get this on the agenda and then do the outreach.
All right, Commissioner Schutte.
Yeah, it all sounds good to me. Just keep us posted.
Yep, same thing.
Okay. And
All
then our next item is Melissa.
Morning, commissioners.
Morning.
I have one item today, 3 contract amendments for our homeless service providers. So on the June 4th action agenda, the board approved our amendment with the Department of Commerce, which was adding the additional funds for state fiscal year 25. The purpose of those funds is to maintain current levels of homeless subsidies and services, as well as to stabilize the homeless service provider workforce. Eligibility for those funds were agencies that are already contracted with us for those services, so it wasn't any new agencies invited to apply. We did a request for quote. We reviewed those quotes, and all the agencies that responded to the RFQ were funded, so we issued award letters to them. The providers that responded to the application were Crossroads Housing, Quixote Communities, and Shelton Family Center. And the funding will allow them to expand particularly their street outreach programs, eviction prevention, as well as permanent housing. So the ability to provide move-in assistance, up to 2 years of rent subsidies, as well as case management, as well as provide a temporary wage stimulus to their employees. And that's an exciting piece just because it's really hard work. So we're glad that there was funding available for them to do that. The specific amounts for each agency, $7,131 to Quixote Communities, $458,035 to Shelton Family Center Youth Connections, and $484,480 to Crossroads Housing. So we are just asking to move these amendments to the next action agenda for approval.
Commissioner Schutte?
Yes, good with me.
Yeah, me too. This is exciting.
Thank you very much. That's my only item.
Thank you very much. All right, what else you got for us, Dave?
Okay, a couple things that weren't on this, just got some quick updates. So Ian and I will be on vacation, kind of overlapping over the next 2 weeks. So I did an authorization for Melissa to do have signature authority for me in my absence, so we can keep the financials and payroll and all that kind of stuff rolling along nice and smooth. So that went out to my staff and to Mark this morning. So that's looking good. We have been working hard on getting the new building going. Kelly has been helping us with that. We're making great progress. It's good. It's exciting. The staff has had a chance to tour the building. We've identified some things we need to fix, and it's getting its paint job this week. And soon we'll be getting its carpet. And we've started the process of the logistics of moving from here to there. And it's just a very exciting time to see about expanding our services and what we can do. So one of the things we're looking at is, as Chief mentioned, electronic health records. So we're in the exploratory process of electronic health records, and looking at my requirement for these would have to be interoperability with other health records. So if we have a product that we're going to use, it needs to be able to talk to Mason General. It needs to be able to talk to Peninsula Community Health. Some way of exporting and interoperability is going to be critical. The state is coming out with their own electronic health record for all the public health districts to use, and they'll have it online within the next 2 to 3 years. So that's just it's not acceptable to us. So we're going to move ahead. I've talked with Patagonia. We're going to look at Athena, and then Cerner as well as the 3 companies that we'll look at to see which will best serve us at the best price.
So is this something that should be brought in front of the IT steering committee? Yeah,
so once we get some ideas of what they have, what their interoperability is, because if they can't even get us interoperability between, the entities we want, there's no use in bringing it forward. So we're going to do that initial screen and then bring that to IT.
And this would be a program that would be utilized by your staff as well as the jail.
Well, this would be for us, but this is something that maybe the jail could piggyback onto. And that would be great if Patagonia, I've talked with them at length, and we've done kind of a sit down meeting where we talked about all the issues and things, and we're gonna have that same process with the others. But it may be something that the jail can piggyback onto for low expense.
That would be great. Commissioner Schutte?
Yeah, and I look forward to reviewing that at IT steering committee. And just, I guess the one thing to keep in mind on that would just be, if the state, comes out with a program and, that's different than what we might choose, how that would all kind of work out. If we would have to change course after a couple of years and go with what the state's funding or recommending or mandating, so just being kind of thoughtful about that. And yeah, I think that would probably be my big concern at the moment.
Yeah, and we are having that conversation with the state, because we've been asking for this for a long time. And many health jurisdictions have moved ahead. We currently have a health record called Nightingale Notes, which is just not going to be compatible with what we need to do going forward. It's just old technology, but the state is working on something. Everybody's moving ahead, so it's going to be a big conversation with us and Department of Health going forward. So what we're asking DOH to do is have a way that we can have interoperability so the two can talk to each other, because Wasalfo gave the state a bunch of money. I think it was like $10 million out of the Wasalfo funds to update the state's disease registry process, and that was in 2021, and we've still not seen a rebuild of the Washington Disease Registry Service. So our system, the state moves at a glacial pace on some of these things. And if we're going to move ahead with clinical operations, we need to get ahead of this process. But we still need to be able to talk to the state when they do come online.
So important to have the ability to export information in common formats.
Right, and the other thing is we're pushing for a health information exchange, an HIE, and that would give the health departments the ability to exchange de-identified data back and forth around disease outbreaks, disease, basically just the data around a broad variety of diseases that we can share amongst ourselves and then do that processing. So it's important for us to be able to do an exchange, and that just has not been built. Something we've wanted now for probably 15 years, and I think we're just on the cusp of getting that done. And the new electronic health record companies are very aware of that we're looking for a way to pull the data out of the system so we can do risk analysis for the whole state, not just our own communities.
So that begs the question, are you talking to other counties about what they could be using, and if everybody kind of unites together on a good system that could work for everybody, maybe the state could adopt that system.
Yeah. So Grace Harbor, I think Lewis uses it to get SAP. Now I'm saying Patagonia. So there's one that a number of the smaller jurisdictions are using, cost effective, but we really need to look at others as well, because our hospital uses Cerner and PCHS uses Athena. So, we're trying to balance those two things of what are other health districts using, health departments using, and then what are our local partners using? And we need to be able to talk to everybody.
Right. It would be nice to be able to communicate together, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Wow, what a concept that would be. To all be on the same piece of data. Yeah.
Yeah. What the heck?
Yeah.
Crazy talk, man.
Yeah. Can you imagine what that would look like during COVID if we'd been able to do that?
Oh, yeah, I can. That would have been amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And David, just to confirm, you said that the state was in the process of developing their own system and they're estimating it's 3 to 4 years out.
Yeah, at least 2 to 3 years. Yeah.
So really,
at something that's already going in the process. It works.
Yeah. So if they can just have a portal where we can connect through a portal and import export, that would be our goal.
Yeah. Kelly took me up and I toured the new building, and it's got a lot of potential. Yeah, and it's gonna look really nice when it's all put together and you guys are all in your offices.
Yeah, when we have white paint throughout the building instead of.
Oh, I don't know. I like the variety. It added an atmosphere. I'm not sure what kind of atmosphere, but it added something.
Right. And Kelly's doing a good job. He's getting us some lights, so it's not quite as dim in there.
And he's moving the light switches from behind the doors.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you have to walk into the room, close the door behind you, turn on the lights. Yeah, that's not probably the most effective way of doing things.
No.
Personally, more importantly to me is the space issues that we're having out at Building 8 and kind of looking at all the departments and offices and determining which ones we needed to expand and where they were going. Building 8 was definitely at the top of that list. So
Yeah.
having community development and public health in the same building was a challenge, and we had people really packed in there fairly tightly. I'm excited to see how we can use that additional space in Building 8 also. Environmental health will remain in Building 8 because of their relationship with the planning and building process. So I think it's going to be a good solution.
Yeah, so environmental health and finance will stay here.
Yep, I think it's cool.
And that is all I have.
That's all you have? Commissioner Schutte, do you have anything for Dave and his team?
Nothing for me. Thanks, guys.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dave. All right. Public Works, Loretta.
Good morning.
Good morning again.
So first up, Commissioners, Mike is here to share an update. We've been talking about a potential second RID out at Razor Road. And so Mike's been taking a look at some different alternatives. We don't have anything super solid right now, but definitely want to share a progress update with you.
Yeah, we're looking at about 6 different options, and then there's after conversation with Commissioner Netherland, there's about 3 iterations of those 6 different options. So I don't want to go through that and just talk about that now. What I'll do is actually get each option with a map and the narration on that map, and we'll get that to you ahead of time so you can have a lot more time to look at it, and then we can have a better discussion of it. So I'm working on that and probably should have that out by the end of the week.
All right, sounds good. Commissioner Schutte, any questions?
No, I'll wait to see the updated mapping.
So Mike, then brief in a couple weeks. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any quick update real quick? We've got some paving going on before you jump off and we move on to others.
So recently in the last couple months, we've been working on a lot of dig out paving, patching. We've did work out at Satsup Coquitlam, Shelton Valley, Camilchi Lane, Old Olympic Highway, Discoke Valley. We're going to rent the milling machine again here in October and do some additional work. So the guys are really excited. We've got that process down really well to mill it and then use our own paving machine to pave the areas back. They're getting really efficient at that. Currently, we're working on Tahuya Blacksmith Road, which is one of our gravel conversion roads. That road has, if you've never seen it before, you can come see it now. The south section of it, we've did some real good improvements on that, and we'll be chip sealing that this year. Currently, yes, we're paving out at Lake Navato. So there's about a mile stretch along the lake there. We're actually widening shoulders on both sides. A lot of pedestrian traffic in that area. They've got one side completed, and they may get the other side completed even as of today. So it's the property owners seem to be really excited about it, and it's a real good project. So then we just awarded a couple contracts to Shelton Matlock. Where we're going to widen and pave the shoulders from Deegan Road all the way to Highland. That was awarded to Puget Sound Paving, and we're going to have a pre-construction meeting with them this week. The Camilchi Point paving project was awarded to Lakeside. That's the first 2.8 miles of Camilchi Point. You see out there where we did with our own forces. We did a lot of widening shoulder work, and so they're going to come in and pave that. So that's exciting. North Fort Goldsboro Bridge is a Quigg Brothers have got that project, and that's to replace a failing timber structure on there, a cap. They're going to get that this summer. And North Island Drive culvert was actually going to get worked on this summer too by an outfit called New X. We awarded that contract last year. Chip sealing is going to begin here the 15th. We're going to be up there on Tahuya Blacksmith first. Then we'll hit Belfair Tahuya Road. We'll be out here at Shelton Matlock, down at Bierbauer. And so we got a lot of chip sealing to do. Setting this Shetland RID for August 13th, that is putting us a little farther out. We have to get the easements all signed and recorded before we can actually do the work there. So we're still hoping for September, but it's going to all really depend on the weather and when we get the easements signed. So we've got a full slate, and we're winter's coming fast. We keep worrying about it.
Thanks, Mike. And thank you, Commissioner Trask, for road tripping with us last week.
Oh man, that was awesome. I appreciate you guys so much for taking me out there and showing me different. So there's a lot going on in the county. I don't know if people know that or not, but there's a lot going on in the county, and a lot of it involves public works. And so I really appreciated you guys taking me around and getting to see the guys working out there and the big equipment. I love the big equipment. That's what my dad did. And so it has a special place in my heart. So, but I would encourage others to, get a hold of Loretta and Mike and take a road tour, because it's amazing what you guys are doing. Please let the guys know that we appreciate them and that they're doing a great job.
Yeah, it is. I tell Mike and Jeremy and the crew, it's just so exciting to see them excited about their work, and we're very, very proud of their work. They are doing great things. Yeah.
They are, yeah.
All right. So next up, commissioners, we last week before, I guess, Commissioner Schutte and Mark and I met with our project partners on the Skokomish Restoration Project to review the status of our acquisition that is needed to construct the project. And our grant funding folks, we don't have the grant, but Mason Conservation District has the grant through Floodplains by Design to acquire the real estate for the restoration projects. And they're at the point now when they need to start making decisions about extending a grant or not. So we met with our partners, like I said, the Skokomish Tribe and Conservation District, to discuss whether we can meet our objectives. And it's going to be very tough, or not even possible at this point. So commissioners, I've drafted a letter for your review. I will shoot that out right after this to take a look. And I'd like you to take a look at that. Let me know if there are any, I guess, let's discuss next steps. Commissioner Schutte, sorry, any other, or Mark, other things to add to?
Yeah, no, I don't think anything necessarily to add to that, other than it is disappointing that we weren't able to make more progress over the past couple of years on this. This is a big project. It's a complex project, and it was difficult to get buy-in from some property owners, while at the same time there was a ton of enthusiasm from a bunch of other property owners who were really committed to seeing the project go through. And so we were kind of constrained by our ability to go too far beyond some of the limitations in place for appraised value and what we could pay for property. The Army Corps has some of their own requirements in projects like this, where if it was purely a state or a local project, you might not need to have a perpetual easement or acquisition happen. It could be temporary, and the Army Corps, while they've been very supportive and helpful and very committed to this project, at the district level, at the national level, they have some pretty rigorous standards that just weren't really palatable to some of the property owners in the valley. And so I think there's an opportunity here for us to go back to the drawing board and really think about how we could approach the projects that were included in the overall funding package that we received here a few years ago. And the work is still needed. We still need to figure out how to improve critical habitat in the valley, but we also need to be working on how to improve flood conditions for residents in the valley. That was the beauty of this project, was that it wasn't an either or project. It was a both and project. We would have been able to both improve habitat and improve flood conditions for residents there. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to move forward in the timelines that the State Department of Ecology had for us. And so it's back to the drawing board with the Conservation District, the tribe, and the county to see what is possible, and hopefully salvage some of the work associated with the road project in the dips area of the valley, so that we can continue to see improvement there for folks in the upper valley who need to travel in and out when it does get flooded. So more to come, I hope, but I think at this point it probably makes the most sense for us to figure out what it takes to move on from the project at this point, along with our project partners in the community, and reassess where we need to go from here.
All right, disappointing, and but it is what it is, right?
Yeah, it is very, lots of emotions for a darn engineer. So yeah, it is very disappointing from my perspective, but as Commissioner Schutte said, we are absolutely committed to pressing on and continuing away. There are many people supportive, and it's just finding the right way to move ahead. So absolutely, we're committed to doing that.
All right.
All right. Thank you, commissioners. Next up, wanted to provide a status report on the Commerce grant that was received by the city of Bremerton. We met last week with Bremerton regarding a scope of work and next steps for moving ahead for them to execute the grant. The grant offer was made to the city of Bremerton, and as you are aware, there are two parts to that grant. One is for the evaluation of the expansion of our water reclamation facility and spray field, and analyzing the capacity of our conveyance. And then the second part was for the city of Bremerton to look at their system and how to connect to the Belfair water reclamation facility. And so we began talking about that. Bremerton has attended the Commerce training for the grant management. Bremerton is a bit concerned about going through the process and still not being entirely certain whether or not a connection can be made. And so they're certainly wanting to have further conversations along those lines. We are meeting again tomorrow morning at the staff level to discuss again scope and how to move forward on executing the Commerce agreement, and what those how that scope of work looks, who's responsible for what tasks, and so on. So I wanted to share that with you, commissioners, and then absolutely want to hear your thoughts and comments about level of continued sharing with you about progress and where we sit, and making sure that you are getting what you need in terms of how we move ahead on this grant.
All right, Commissioner Schutte? Any thoughts or comments?
Yeah, happy to hear that we're meeting with Bremerton. I mean, I think that's a fair question. I don't know if I'd put it in the concern category, but I think it's one of those things that we have to investigate as part of this. And I think on our side, it's always come down to, what we think our required capacity is going to be into the future for the Belfair UGA, and how do we plan for that? I think we have some pretty good data from our EIS from a couple of years ago. And I think, the reality of operating a utility is, we're committed to it. And so we have to always be thinking about what it takes to operate it efficiently and what those capacity requirements are down the road. And so I think this is a good starting point. It would be great to see that scope of work come out and, start moving forward with things. I think at that point, I'll have some more questions potentially, but I think the communication with Bremerton is really important right now, so that we can figure out, how Mason County gets what it needs in order to be successful with the funding that we received. And, a lot of that is going to follow along the lines of what's in our adopted CIP. That's our blueprint, and it's our blueprint regardless of connecting to Bremerton or not. And so I think having that kind of guide our work is going to be I think the most logical starting point. And I think there also opens up the opportunity to have those conversations with Bremerton about, what they believe they would need from a service provider, if that was to be us or them, what their projections are, and how do we account for that, right? How do we have, if Bremerton is interested in connecting to the Belfair wastewater treatment facility, what are their contributions to that? How do we help navigate some of those things? What are those decision points for us? And I kind of look at it from the perspective, if we were working with a developer, is there the potential for that agreement up front, in order to reserve capacity? What does that look like? What are the pros and cons of that? And so I think part of my hope for the funding that we received is that we utilize some of those consultant services to look at all of those different issues and options, and then help us chart a course, that prioritizes Mason County, but also recognizes that, there are going to be potential regional growth pressures put onto us, and how do we plan accordingly for that as well.
Right, well said. And I think for me, there's so much of the unknown, as far as, how many ERUs is the city of Bremerton, how many are they asking for? I don't think we even have that number yet. So I think that there's a lot of unknowns at this point. So the more we can work with our neighbors, the better, to figure out what's, first and foremost, I want Mason County taken care of. And then, working with our partners. So I'm glad you're meeting with them.
Thank you.
Loretta, what's your sense of when, I mean, I know you're meeting later this week, but what's your sense of when, there might be an RFP or that scope of work for review that could go out?
I don't know at this point. I know that they are just kicking off this process, Commissioner Schutte. So yeah, I don't know is the short answer. Tomorrow morning after we meet, I can give you a better idea.
Okay, thank you.
Our meeting's first thing in the morning.
I guess just keep us posted.
All right, I'll have that as a regular item.
That sounds like a plan.
Okay. All right.
All right.
I
Anything
think
else for
that
us?
is about it. The only The other thing, I did send an email to you. The tip cap will be meeting up at the hub, North Mason Voice meeting Thursday later this week. And Amy Amos, the project engineer for the freight corridor, will also be attending and sharing an update on the freight corridor. So just wanted to give you a heads up about that.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yes.
And what time does that start?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Okay.
Loretta, I'm sorry, Commissioner Trask, do you mind?
No, go for it.
Loretta, do you mind if we jump back to the commerce funding just for a second?
Sure.
You had mentioned, I think at the beginning of the discussion that Bremerton, they were the ones that received the award notice.
Yes.
Is there a way to split the funding and the scopes of work so that we're able to do this process concurrently with them? And I guess the reason I ask that is simply because if they have things that they need to work out on their end that, you know, might be beyond what we're able to assist with, you know, whether that be a engineering issue or a political one, we still know that this is the work that we applied for is work that's on our CIP and needs to get done eventually. So is there an opportunity to, you know, to kind of evaluate that with Commerce to see if, you know, we can still utilize some of the funding if Bremerton isn't ready to move?
Yeah, we could certainly do that. We could either approach Commerce. Well, I would prefer to do that together or have Ned and Bremerton ask that question.
Because I think our side of things is fairly straightforward. I mean, we're looking at plant capacity, drain or spray fill type things. So I mean, ours is a little bit less complex, I think, than their side. Ideally, you know, and then, you know, that way we're the owner of the work product.
Yes.
On our side, you know, and so that might be worth just a little bit of conversation. If you get into the meeting tomorrow and Bremerton has resolved some of their issues, then, you know, maybe it's moot. But, you know, at the same time, there's maybe some value into us running concurrent complementary processes, you know, with some overlap versus, you know, not, you know, waiting to do this in one larger consultant package.
Right, right. Well, and then the other thing we discussed actually was even if it were one grant, that one model would be that the county is a subcontractor, for lack of a better word. So we would be responsible for that scope of work that relates to our system. And off we could go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
yeah.
That'd be great too. Yeah, that's really helpful.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so those would be the two models. Either, you know, have two separate commerce grants, which is more administration, all those fun things, or we have responsibility for the scope of work pertaining to our system. Okay.
Right. That works. Anything else for us, Loretta?
I think that is it for this morning for now.
All right, Commissioner Schutte, anything for Loretta and her team?
Nothing else for me.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you, Loretta.
Thank you.
All right, Mark, you're up. Mark? Mark?
Sorry, dealing with a little email that we just received. I'm sorry, Sharon. I'll get back.
That's okay.
We just received a threat here in the county, so.
Oh, did we?
Making sure that we had everything covered.
Okay. Well, and if you need to spend more time on that one, we can definitely just have.
Actually, I believe John is on, and John's got the only item in our.
Yeah, that's all I see on there.
Good morning,
John.
Commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Great. I just wanted to present and hopefully get your approval on the EMPG 2020 reallocation we submitted for, and we got 2 projects approved for a total of $51,194. The first one is to expand our CERT trailers into our new communities that we're now training, which was for $37,100. And then we applied for additional funding for the mobile command post for the sheriff's department, which we were awarded $14,020 for a total of $51,194. Are there any questions?
Oh, that's awesome.
Me, nice work, John.
Yeah.
Thank you. My
well
team's
done. I
doing a
like it.
good job applying for these. So what we're attempting to do is get our partners involved as well, have projects already sitting there. So when funds are returned and the state's looking for projects, we can submit them fairly quickly to ensure that we're at the top of that pool.
Right. So you'll want this put on our next meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. This is cool. Thanks for doing this.
You're welcome, ma'am. Thanks. That's all I have.
All right, Mark, do you have anything else for us?
Oh, that was the only item on our list. I'm just getting caught back up, so.
Okay. All right, I did put on the commissioner's desks a letter asking for not Commissioner Shooty, but Shooty EDC director to be appointed to the Pack Mountain board. But Commissioner Netherland is not here, and I know that you would have to recuse.
He's here.
Oh, he is here. Hey, hey, Randy.
And he agrees.
Okay. All righty. So if we could add that maybe to our next meeting agenda, that would be great. And I believe I sent the message or that information to Tammy
I have it
and
here
to
on my desk.
Mackenzie. Okay.
I can make sure
You're
it
welcome.
gets there.
Okay.
And that would be on the July 16th agenda.
July 13th? Nope, July 16th. Sorry, I was moving into August.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the heat to be gone. All right. Nothing else for us, Mark?
I do not have anything else.
Commissioners, do we have anything for Mark?
I do not.
Not me.
All right. What about a motion?
Just nothing from Mark, but just a real quick calendar update that I may be attending the Mesa County Fire Commissioners Association meeting on Thursday evening. I'm still working to confirm that, but in case I'm there and anybody else is, just wanted to clear the quorum issue. That's all I have.
Yeah, I have it in my phone for some reason, but I don't know if I'm going. But I did see it there, so I may be attending as well.
And I do not have it, so you guys have fun. And I don't have anything else going on. There's a lot going on, but I don't know that we're going to cross paths on any of them. There's also the hub meeting that Loretta was talking about regarding tip cap, but I doubt that I'll be going to that. All right. Anything else?
For me, move we adjourn.
Second.
All right, we are adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.